Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents Careers for Dummies by Marty Nemko, narrated by Stephen Bowlby. Limit of liability, disclaimer of warranty. The publisher and the author make no representations or warranties with respect to the accuracy or completeness of the contents of this work, and specifically disclaim all warranties, including without limitation, warranties of fitness for a particular purpose. No warranty may be created or extended by sales or promotional materials. The advice and strategies contained herein may not be suitable for every situation. This work is sold with the understanding that the publisher is not engaged in rendering legal, accounting, or other professional services. If professional assistance is required, the services of a competent professional person should be sought. Neither the publisher nor the author shall be liable for damages arising herefrom. The fact that an organization or website is referred to in this work as a citation and/or a potential source of further information does not mean that the author or the publisher endorses the information the organization or website may provide or recommendations it may make. Further, readers should be aware that Internet websites listed in this work may have changed or disappeared between when this work was written and when it is read. Forward. A new career book. Do we really need another career book? A quick Amazon search of books related to careers brings up 100,000 titles. Job hunting books, 40,000 titles. The category of career books is crowded with superficial, repetitive, and uninspiring advice, often from individuals whose only expertise seems to be that they themselves were once hired by someone. Or those who think they have the latest out-of-the-box wild idea like, don't write a resume. And then, I was given the opportunity to read Marty Nemko's latest book, Careers for Dummies. I read it cover to cover because, despite managing career centers at Dickinson College, the University of Texas at Austin, Wake Forest University, and Vanderbilt University, I know there's always something new to learn, particularly where Marty Nemko is involved. I first encountered Marty's work in 1998 when he published Cool Careers for Dummies. I had been working in the field of career services for over 10 years at that point, specializing in helping liberal arts students articulate the value of their education to potential employers. Most career books at that time were written with the assumption that the job seeker had a traditional degree, business or engineering, and sought a job in those fields, not cool careers. It opened up a world of ideas for my liberal arts students. They didn't have to become bankers, lawyers, or professors. There were plenty of other cool careers, interesting careers that would benefit from their knowledge and skills. Over the years, I've purchased copies for all my career coaching staffs so they could use it in their work with students. I personally met Marty in 2009 when the first edition of my book, You Majored in What?, was published. Marty asked me to appear as a call-in guest on his radio show, a San Francisco-based national public radio program, Work with Marty Nemko. We had an engaging conversation around chaos theory as it relates to careers of liberal arts students, and it was a pleasure to meet the author behind one of my favorite career books. So, what does Marty's latest career book have to offer? Aside from being well-organized and packed with new ideas and information, this is a book which clears through the clutter. It harnesses the best of the ever-expanding information about career exploration and development. It will help you organize every aspect of your career, from uncovering your strengths to succeeding on the job. It is truly a soup-to-nuts guide to the career search and the career development process. Career seekers have to consider three main questions. Who am I? Where can I work? And how do I get there? Many career books focus on the first and third questions, and Careers for Dummies is no exception. Those topics are covered thoroughly. But when it comes to the second question, there is a dearth of good information about what's out there. It's a tough topic to handle because it's at once vast and yet highly specific. Career counselors are often stuck using the less than scintillating Dictionary of Occupational Titles, or the Occupational Outlook Handbook. This is where Careers for Dummies shines. In Part 2, the Careers Catalog, you will be introduced to over 300 interesting and intriguing careers. 2 chapters in particular caught my attention. Chapter 6, STEM Careers, Science, Technology, Engineering, Math, and Chapter 7, STEM plus People or Word Careers. Few career books tackle these important areas of employment, and myths abound about these fields, including the myth that STEM jobs are readily available. After all, aren't we always hearing about the lack of people to fill STEM positions? Doesn't Yahoo regularly let us know that the highest paid jobs are in STEM fields? The truth is, these jobs are highly specialized, often require advanced degrees, and do not fit neatly into one package despite the appealing acronym of STEM. Jobs for a bachelor's-level biology major are quite different from jobs for a PhD in physics or a master's degree in math. These 2 chapters illuminate the variety of careers for individuals with differing STEM backgrounds, describing the typical careers in each field, and then adding what Marty calls neat niches, interesting lesser-known specialties that might be worth investigating. Careers like cancer registrar, packaging engineer, or virtual reality programmer might not be on Yahoo's top career list, but probably should be. And this section doesn't just list job opportunities, it delves into the mindsets STEM majors will need to develop to succeed, including an interdisciplinary mindset and high emotional intelligence. Finally, Careers for Dummies goes beyond most career books in that it also provides information for succeeding in the workplace once you have the position. This book could quite possibly be the only career book you will need to complete your job search. Except for mine, of course. Buy them both. A new career book. Do we really need another one? If it's Careers for Dummies by Marty Nemko, we do. Dr. Catherine S. Brooks, Evans Family Executive Director, Vanderbilt University Career Center, Nashville, Tennessee. Introduction. In our demanding, fast-paced world, it's challenging to pick a career, land a good job, and succeed in it. This book can help. About this book. I hope you'll consider this book your virtual career coach, your little black career book. It shares much of what I've learned from having worked with over 5,000 clients. Here's a walkthrough. I start by helping you look at the big trends in Part 1, Finding Your Place in the Work World. That can help you sail with, instead of against, the wind. It might even help you get in on the ground floor of the next big thing. In choosing a career, it helps to find out what makes you special. So, one chapter helps you do that. Another way to find your specially suited career is to look under the radar. This book's DIY Under the Radar Career Finder can help you find niches that fit you. After you've gotten to know more about yourself, you can browse Part 2, the Careers Catalog. It offers a brief scoop on 340 careers, the popular ones, plus plenty of under-the-radar options. Each scoop ends with a link to more information. The careers are arranged in categories to make it easier to home in on well-suited choices. In another chapter, I offer my favorite low-risk self-employment ideas, plus a tool to help you decide whether you're likely to be successfully self-employed. Then I turn to describing how to try on a career. Like a suit of clothes, a career may look good on the rack, but when you try it on, you may love it or cringe. And like a suit, for a career to really work, it may need to be tailored and accessorized. I'll show you how. It's all well and good to pick a well-matched career, but you need to be well-trained to avoid the imposter syndrome, when you feel less competent than your diploma suggests you are. Sometimes that means choosing the right major and college or graduate school program, but at other times, it's wise to do some, or even all, your career preparation outside the halls of academia. Either way, this book has you covered, even down to how to convince an employer that you're worth hiring because you attended U instead of State U. Of course, career training is important, but we all know people who are well trained yet don't live up to their potential. They may have issues that keep them from being, as the Army commercial said, all that you can be. Perhaps they're wrapped up in self-doubt and fear, or they're inveterate procrastinators. So, read the chapter, Getting Emotionally Solid. Next, it's time to land a job, a good one. The next few chapters show you how to do more than just answer ads, how to get referred in, for example. And to summarize those chapters, I list, day by day, what I would actually do to get the essence of my job search done in a week. Yes, a week. Okay, so after you have a job offer, do you just take it, or do you negotiate? And if you negotiate, how can you do it without the offer getting pulled or you're getting stressed out? Well, not too stressed out. That's the topic of the chapter, Negotiating Wisely. Now you're on the job. How can you get good at it, and maybe even become beloved? I'll talk about the unspoken rules of the workplace, managing your boss, time, stress, and supervisees, cultivating charisma, and even public speaking without fear. But what if, despite all efforts, you've picked the wrong career, or simply decided that you've been there, done that, and it's time for something new? The next chapter shows 4 approaches to changing careers. Then I get philosophical. What really matters to you? This chapter can help you decide on your work life's foundational principles. Then I step back and offer a pessimistic view of the future, an optimistic one, and my prediction. To end on a lighter note, the book concludes with The Part of Tens, 10 ultra-fast ways to land a job, 10 career myths, and, as an opportunity for me to sound like your father, 10 plus 5 preachy please. Icons used in this book. For Dummies books highlight particularly important text with these icons. Tip. This book is filled with tips, but I mark particularly important or fresh ones with tip. Remember, you may have heard these ideas before, but they're important enough to deserve a shout-out. Warning. Avoid these common pitfalls and you probably won't bomb out. Beyond the book. In addition to the material in the book or ebook you're now reading, you get a free Access Anywhere cheat sheet with even more tips for landing that dream job. To get this cheat sheet, visit dummies.com and type Careers for Dummies cheat sheet in the search box. After reading this book, if you still have questions, email me at mnemko@comcast.net. I promise to answer you. Marty Nemko. Where to go from here? You may choose to read this book from cover to cover, or you may prefer to read just what you need when you need it. That's just-in-time learning. I hope you find this book worthwhile and enjoyable. Part 1. Finding Your Place in the Work World. In this part, how the world is changing. Figure out where you fit. Find under-the-radar niches. Chapter 1. Understanding Today's and Tomorrow's World of Work. In this chapter, seeing what will likely endure, seeing what will likely change, the saga of a career. This chapter can help you find your place in the world of work, both today and tomorrow. More specifically, it looks at what's likely to remain the same and what's likely to change over the decades of your work life. Although I'm not in possession of a crystal ball, I do have some insights into what you can expect to come down the pike over the course of the next 10, 20, 30, or even 40 years. This chapter spells out some of those insights. Timeless truths. It's been said that the only person who likes change is a wet baby. So let me start by describing what's likely to remain relatively constant over your work span. What employers seek in an employee. Employees with the attributes described in the following list will continue to have good job prospects. Tech Plus. Ever more jobs will create both soft and technical skills. Some jobs will continue to require mainly what are referred to as soft skills, effective communication, organization, attention to detail, for example. But ever more jobs will also require skills that are far more technically oriented. It could be simply knowing how to use the field's major software, or it could be having in-depth knowledge of supply chain management or machine learning design. Reasoning skills. Most well-paying jobs require employees to make many decisions each day that require good thinking skills, including the not-so-common common sense. Emotional solidity. A person can be smart and knowledgeable, yet be unsuccessful. Success requires resilience to life's slings and arrows. You may be able to develop and strengthen that capability to an unexpected degree, as you can see in Chapter 13. Large organizations are desirable employers. Startups make for lots of sexy-sounding headlines because of a ping-pong and Red Bull culture, and when a startup goes public, it makes its founders zillionaires. Beyond the headlines, startups have other pluses. They often allow you to wear many hats in the service of a cutting-edge product and offer the prospect of a big-buck exit. Just remember that most startups quickly go bust, leaving employees jobless and with stock options worth zippo. Sure, working for a large company has some disadvantages. Your role may be narrow, and you may be forced to follow procedure and the chain of command. But a solid structure can help a company be greater than the sum of its parts. Combine that concept with the deep pockets, refined processes, and good products associated with larger companies, and it's easy to understand why many graduates of prestigious colleges continue to want to work for category killers like Apple, Google, Citibank, Johnson & Johnson, Goldman Sachs, 3M, General Electric, and Procter & Gamble. Similarly, people who prefer nonprofits are attracted to major players like UNICEF, Planned Parenthood, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And people who prize job security and a pro-social mission gravitate to the largest employer, the government. The importance of choosing a career wisely. Finding a career that matches your abilities, interests, and values will remain important, and not just because your success and happiness matter. If you've picked correctly, and thus stayed in your career for at least a few years, you'll have had the time to acquire the in-depth knowledge that many careers require. Rigorous hiring practices. Today's job seekers are likely aware that candidates applying for good jobs are often invited to apply. They're referred in by colleagues, or recruiters find them by trolling professional forums and speakers lists from professional conferences. For a database of professional associations, check out directoryofassociations.com. So, participate in your profession's community. That makes you more employable and competent and, in turn, feeling better about the work you do. In recent years, job seekers have come to expect multiple rounds of interviews and tests of their technical skills, from typing to coding. That will continue. It means that job seekers will continue to need to show, not just tell. For example, today's winning resume should usually include a professional development section that lists key learning outcomes from career-specific trainings, from an in-person workshop to an online certificate. Remember, the good news is that hiring practices involving multiple interviews help ensure that merit, and not other factors, drive hiring decisions. That benefits not only good candidates, but also coworkers and customers. Homework. More and more people are working from home. Because of the ever-growing traffic in many cities, more employees are asking to telecommute or work from home, at least for part of the work week. Many employers support telecommuting because it saves the expense of providing office space. In addition, cheap, reliable video conferencing makes video meetings more acceptable than in the past. Gigification. Many employees will continue to be needed full-time, 52 weeks a year. but employers will continue to replace other employees with gig employees or just-in-time employees who are contracted to complete specific projects. Employers are sometimes tempted to replace full-time employees with these giggers because it's ever more expensive to hire U.S. workers. That expense includes not just salaries, but also government-mandated benefits and protections, increased Social Security and workers' compensation limits, employee lawsuits, and employer-paid health care, for example. Remember, some people lament America's gigification. They prefer stability over having to look for new work every few months. They prefer working with the same people for a long time. It can feel good to experience life's key times together. On the other hand, some people like the gig economy's flexibility. They benefit from the novelty of the experience, the option of taking breaks to complete that dream project or travel destination, or perhaps even a chance at a fresh start after a financial meltdown, for example. What will likely change? During your work span, the world is sure to change dramatically. The following sections take a look at what changes will most likely affect your world of work. Yes, the robots are coming, but not so fast. Sure, more jobs are becoming automated, but the worry that robots will entirely take over the workforce may be overblown. Yes, though repetitive work will likely be automated, for at least the next decade, most jobs requiring judgment will be augmented by, but not replaced by, technology. For example, physicians will have a sort of a Dr. Watson to aid in diagnosing patients and choosing a treatment, though we're a long way from having to hear the online receptionist say, "The robot will see you now." Truth of the matter is that every time a new technology has been developed, from the steam engine to the search engine, it was predicted that the technology would kill jobs. More jobs were created, however, including many that couldn't even have been imagined. Plus, in selecting the 340 careers to include in Part 2 of this book, I've considered the risk of a career being automated. There should be ample options, both technological and not, that would capitalize on technological advances. Here are a few examples. The fashionable future. It shouldn't be long before you can visit a clothing website, pick a fabric and style, and enter your body measurements, and then print the perfectly customized item at home on your 3D printer. Yes, the system will eliminate repetitive clothing manufacturing jobs, but those are low-paying and not fun anyway. The replacement jobs will inevitably be more interesting. For example, people will likely buy more clothes, given how easy and, eventually, inexpensive it will be to purchase what they're in the mood for. That will create jobs for everything from fabric designer to image consultant, and from fabric ink manufacturer to repairer of those printers eternally cranking away in 3D. Future data farmers of America. In this increasingly ever more data-centric world, people will be hired to collect and interpret the information that companies, nonprofits, and government are acquiring. Consider merely how much data Google and Facebook alone already have on each of its users. Artificial intelligence will enable ever more personalized ads to be presented. It will even infer your moods and send you just-in-time ads. That will increase the number of jobs that are available, for example, as data scientist, market researcher, marketing manager, social media marketing specialist, nonprofit fundraiser, and donor database manager. The future of love. Even advances in dating will create jobs. Dating already has evolved from the old-fashioned matchmaker to Match.com and a bevy of similar dating sites, from Tinder to JDate. New jobs will likely be created because of next-generation dating sites. An algorithm will infer your essence from your social media posts and then suggest good fits. Swipe right, and you'll see a 3D holographic video of the person introducing himself, or herself. I rotate the terms in this book. Swipe left, and you'll teach the algorithm to improve its predictions. Jobs will be created not just for designers of dating sites, but also for coaches, for example, to guide your journey to your prince or princess. Acme Robots. And of course, the more robots that are coming, the more people will be hired to design, build, install, maintain, and repair them. I wouldn't worry too much about the robots. Hey, they've been trying to sell us robotic vacuum cleaners for almost 20 years now, and most of us are still pushing around our Hoovers. Education reinvented. Campus-based higher education is under increasing scrutiny. In addition to the daunting cost, many people complain that courses are too theoretical or too biased or too saddled with content of little interest to too many students. Those critics cite the Academically Adrift study, which found that more than 1/3 of college students grew little to not at all between their freshman and senior years in education's core outcomes: analytic reasoning, critical thinking, and writing. Other criticisms include a residence hall culture that too often is, let's just say, not conducive to studying. And of course, with ever more students graduating, the bachelor's degree no longer confers a large advantage in the job market. A Northeastern University analysis of federal data found that more than half of college graduates under age 25 are unemployed or doing jobs that require no more than a high school education. And that result assumes that they've graduated. Only 59% do, even if given 6 years to complete their studies. There has been a move to online education. Thousands of undergraduate and graduate courses are available via just 2 sites, Coursera.org and edx.org. Alas, because many of those courses are similar to the in-person version but without the in-person interaction, the average completion rate is low. But moving forward, colleges are attempting to compete with short and full-length courses offered by generally more practical providers such as lynda.com, Udemy, udemy.com, and Udacity, udacity.com. That competition should result in larger numbers of shorter courses based on interactive videos and led by transformational instructors, including luminary practitioners. For example, masterclass.com, offers online courses in filmmaking by Martin Scorsese, writing by Judy Blume and James Patterson, comedy by Steve Martin, fashion by Diane von Furstenberg, architecture by Frank Gehry, singing by Christina Aguilera, jazz by Herbie Hancock, drama by David Mamet, tennis by Serena Williams, and environmental science by Jane Goodall. And each costs just $90. Harvard, let alone no-name college, needs to respond, lest traditional higher education venues become dinosaurs. Kindergarten through 12th grade, or K-12, education will progress more slowly toward online education because of its custodial function, the perceived need for a primarily high-touch rather than high-tech education, and the heavy unionization and need to protect teachers' jobs. But the United States has largely abandoned ability-grouped classes, especially in grades K through 8. Instead, a class today may include special needs students, gifted students, native speakers of English, and newcomers from many countries. Those diverse needs can be addressed only by technology, using individualized, self-paced instruction taught in multiple languages. Of course, because such classes could be taught primarily on video, the most effective teachers could teach them, enabling rich and poor, from Beverly Hills to Harlem, to obtain a world-class education. The live teacher, or at least a paraprofessional, would still be needed, for example, for classroom discipline, getting kids unstuck, providing emotional support, and presiding over socialization activities. Of course, this situation has career implications. Would-be teachers or course developers might want to learn the art and science of creating and delivering transformational online courses. Regardless, it would likely be a decade or 3 until most high school courses, let alone lower grade levels, are delivered online by these super teachers. So jobs for teachers, especially in science, math, bilingual education and special education will likely remain viable. Tip:
Sample complete. Ready to continue?